Begin Within Ministries proudly presents Sofa Sundays with your hosts, Reverend Dr. Michelle Izuku and Reverend Jeannie Sovereigns. Sundays at 11:11 a.m. Arizona time and rebroadcasts on Mondays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Come join us on the sofa every Sunday morning. Sofa Sundays with Michelle and Jeannie. Learn more at www.beginwithinministries.com. In partnership with New Thought Media Network.
Good morning. Woohoo! As always, just checking to make sure that we are working. How we doing? Audio's on?
Maybe.
Huh? That's what I'm waiting to hear.
Shoot, because it's not popping up on there. Oh, it is?
Yeah, we're on. Okay, thank you.
Well, I did just mess with it, so tell me if it stays on.
Oh, okay.
It should stay on, I think.
It should stay on. We're just checking because you know how we get.
That's
All right.
Yeah, I was not.
Yeah? All right. Sounds good. All right. I think we're there. Perfect. Because I don't know. One time I'm watching and then it was about a half hour in, our audio just went away. And I was like, what happened there? What happened? Why did that happen? Welcome to Sofa Sundays. I'm Reverend Jeannie Sovereigns, and this is my guest star, Deb Covington. And you might remember her from such things as last week.
Unless you have a short memory.
Unless you have a short memory, exactly, which could happen, right? I have a short memory myself. And we are located here at 7720. Nope, we're not. 7720 is up the street. 7220 North 16th Street, building A1. And you'll know it because the girls are on the door. And that's in Phoenix, Arizona, 85020. And this is the home of Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington, who has beautiful experiences here and classes. And it's also a very lovely space. So if you're looking for something to rent out, to hold classes yourself, just check her out at unleashyourlife.us. And I think that's it for my little who we are and what we do. I think.
That's good.
Is that good? Yeah. Okay. So let us pray in and get started. Do you want to pray in or pray out today?
I'll pray in.
All right. Sounds good.
That beautiful moving sound. Take a deep breath. This is life that we're breathing. Life that flows through each and every one of us. Life that flows through all beings. It is the symbol of the Creator that we experience consistently and constantly. Every breath you take is a reminder that you're alive and that life is manifesting experiences beyond belief. If only we will open our eyes. And today we go inward and connect with that inner being that is perfection. The perfect experience of everything in life. the inner being that knows all, that knows who we are, what we desire, where we're from and where we're going. It is the inner being that is the divine truth of each and every one of us. And that inner being is the connection to the one power, whether we call it God, the universe. There's many, many names, but it is all one and the same. And so today, as we allow ourselves and choose to be connected to that inner being, we see life in its perfection. And everything that is said here today is awakening more and more the awareness of that connection to our inner being and the one power. And so as I release these words, I know that this time that we spend together is a deep connection, an intimate connection of love, of life. And I release these words out into the universe, knowing that today, anyone who is hearing these words, whether it's today or later, they hear exactly what they are asking to hear. And so I release these words and let them be. And we say, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Dan. It's been a minute since I've seen you.
It has been.
Yeah,
Last time I was here.
really, it has. Yeah. All right, so it's been probably 2 months,
I think so.
maybe.
Mhm.
And the reason I remember that is because that was the last time my car was broken and needed a ride home. So, yeah. So, but that's good. That's very good. Wow. So, tell me what's been happening. I love this. Today's topic is I live what I believe. And if you don't have a short memory and you listened last week, you heard a lot about what Deb believes. And I wanted to dive more into that today in, how what we believe shows up in our world. And one of the things that I heard, because I was listening, one of the things that I heard is we were talking about pain and old age and how those two things, depending on what we believe about them, will change our experience of them. And I know my friend Amy Steinberg always talks about New Thought people don't look their age, and the reason is they're always smiling. And because of the smile, you don't notice the wrinkles or you don't notice the things that happen on our faces as our skin tends to age. And I thought, that's so true. Because I remember Reverend Flo, and she was like in her 80s. And when I found out that she was in her 80s and not her late 60s, I was amazed. I really was amazed to know that I was like, wow. So I really think that what we believe shows up in our lives in, what did you say, pleasant and unpleasant ways,
Well, the first thing that I would like to say is that for anyone who is not completely clear on what they believe, all you have to do is take a look at your life circumstances, because they reveal what you believe. We draw to us, we attract to us on a frequency level what we are believing. Not what we're saying necessarily, but what we truly believe. Okay? So, when we were talking about this last week, something interesting I experienced. My grandson graduated, And
Oh,
my
no.
my grandson,
Right, I know. All of us who know him are like, what?
I know. Yeah, from kindergarten.
It's been a minute.
He went to a what I call an original school. It was a hybrid school. Originally, he went there because of COVID, and so hybrid meaning that you're required to go a minimum of 2 days a week in class, and then the rest of the time it's online. However, the majority of the students there would be considered challenged intellectually, emotionally, ADHD on the spectrum, that type of stuff. Not all of them, however, a big portion of them were. There was probably around 200 graduating students.
Wow.
There's 4 different locations of this school, and each location had a student that gave a speech, a talk, and it was very moving. It really opened me to recognize the value on a different level of when I graduated or my children graduated. Yeah, you're proud of them. It's great. It is an accomplishment, absolutely. And for these students, this is an accomplishment that was never expected of them. They were told it would not happen.
Wow.
And because of people in their life, normally a parent or a guardian, many of them had guardians, brought them to this school. And because of their coaching system within the school for their education, there's what I feel is a greater involvement of the school and the teachers and the coaches than you might find in some public schools. And so I was watching them, and as a big stage, and as each one of these students walked up to the stage to get their diploma and to have their picture taken, it was interesting. There's a point connected to what you were saying about smiling. There were some students that you'd see them walk up on the stage and they were like, and their energy was kind of dark. And as soon as they got up there on the stage to have their picture taken, they would smile and that energy would totally change. When they came down, they would get back into that dark place again.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting. And then of course some of the students were like, yeah, and they were just, when we smile, there's a light that shines through our inner being.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it kind of blinds you from seeing any of the physical stuff at times. Like you said, you don't see the wrinkles, you don't see that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So that's really important for us to, I believe, to be aware of. When we see someone who you can tell that they're not smiling and they're kind of moping a little bit and kind of down. The first thing that comes to my mind is that person is suffering. Somewhere, somehow, that person is suffering. It may be physical, it may be emotional, And so I recognize that right away, and there's something that happens within me that I want to smile. I want to smile at them because I want to share that light with them.
And keep them in that place.
Pardon?
Keep them in that place before they release it again.
You said keep them in that place.
In that space of smiling.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Keep them in that place of smiling. Yeah, exactly. I agree. And that is one way that I know that I am living what I believe. And then the other ways are when things aren't quite working, I'm also living what I believe as well too. But that was a really movement, a very emotionally moving experience for me to see these kids and feel so proud of them, and recognizing that in this huge arena, all these people were there to share that energy, that frequency of joy and love with these individuals and with each other. It was a huge celebration, and I didn't expect that. because I didn't experience that when I graduated.
What, the celebration part?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it was, but there was just a different feeling about it because it was such a deep thing, a deep emotional thing for these children that was a different level than I think maybe some of the masses of public schools when they graduate. It's an accomplishment. I don't want to take that away. I really don't.
Sometimes it's an expected accomplishment.
Right, thank you. That's what I
Yeah.
was missing. Exactly. That's expected.
It's
And
an
because this
expected
was
thing.
not expected, it was so emotional. I cried multiple times just
Yeah.
because of the joy of everything that they were
Yeah.
sharing.
And that, I love that you said about joy. That is, joy is such a sacred practice. It's not a reward, right? Like, to have joy in your life, it is about looking for those things and experiencing those things. And I think I even have an expectation of having joy in my life versus not having it, for sure, so that it, again, coming down to a choice factor for me. Can I experience something as joy versus, I wouldn't say that the opposite of joy is sadness. For me, I would say the opposite of joy is, apathy. Like, not looking for something, just very, I don't even know if apathy is the word I want. I'm like that. Yeah.
I think apathy and the opposite of joy could be the lack of conscious awareness.
There you go. Yeah.
It's like you said, when we're choosing to experience joy. We're expecting and choosing to experience joy.
We are
Well,
aware.
if I get up in the morning and I'm not consciously doing that, I'm probably not going to feel it. It's not an automatic thing that just happens.
Right. And God bless the people it is an automatic thing for. There are people that wake up and they're just, bouncy and lovely before coffee, and wow, good for you. Don't bother me.
I still think it's a choice on their part, though.
Yeah, probably.
It's just a habitual, so to say,
Right,
thing
sure.
that just when they get up in the morning, they don't. And I hear what you're saying. Kind of the difference is I don't have to say to myself, okay, today I'm going to choose to be joyful. I'm going to choose to experience joy. They just get up and go, I'm joy.
I'm joy. There you go.
I just am.
That is one of the things that I've really been looking at this year with Holy Shift. I've really been looking at sacred play as being part of experiencing joy in my life. I've spent, and I know I'm looking at the women in this room, so I know that too. Like, I've spent a good portion of my life on the opposite of play, in work, right? And you guys were talking about that last week, about the goal setting, and then what's your goals for this year, and what's your goals for that, and stuff. And I love where it's like, I'm done goaling it. I'm done goaling it. I want to experience life without having to say, I want to make 100K this year. I want to be out of debt. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with goals. I'm not saying that at all. I just don't want to always have to be striving to hit some target on a board or on a piece of paper. I want who I am and how I am to be enough and to be more than enough for me. Right? Like, for me, I want it to be enough. And I think that takes sacred play to be able to say, okay, what is the experience I want to have today? And sometimes, like, I just got a new job and there's people watching me from time to time. And I tend to, there's this big open green area at my job. I go for walks, to kind of check out everything. And because I need to walk and, and there's all these pine trees in this big green area, and it's cooler there, and I don't stay out too long. But Where, right? It's at my community that they're beautiful pine trees. And I walk in this green area and I take my shoes off and I walk in the grass, and it's been mentioned, people that have seen me. And I'm like, yeah, because I love to ground. And I love that feeling. And I personally have rocks in my front yard, so I don't experience grass always. So, that's one of those things that I just love and enjoy. I love and enjoy, many things that feel like play to me, like coloring. Coloring is one of my favorite things to do, right? Dancing, singing, just movement in general. I'm not, I think I want a hula hoop or a jump rope or something that says, okay, that reminds me of what it was like to be a kid.
So, those of you that have known me for any length of time, know that I really focus a tremendous amount of my consciousness on energy and frequency, vibration. To me, that's everything. If we want what we enjoy, then we must consistently and constantly, not that you have to do it every minute, but constant enough of focusing on feeling that frequency, of being in that frequency, and that's what our circumstances will become. Have you ever had an experience where you've got a difficult person, you're in a relationship, whatever type, doesn't matter, with a difficult person, and you keep pushing each other's buttons? You just keep pushing each other's buttons.
Never had that experience.
There's the dance, as human beings, there's this dance that we do. I'm like, oh, that didn't feel good. Well, now I'm going to make you not feel good.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Have you ever had the experience where instead of talking and yelling and bickering and nagging at that person for them to change, you suddenly figure out, I'm just not going to feel this anymore. I'm done feeling hurt and aggravated and agitated by that person. And then as soon as you quit doing it, it's not long before that person quits doing it. Years ago, I was in therapy, and my therapist said the most powerful thing to me. She said, it's a dance. And as soon as you stop dancing, guess what? Either they have to stop dancing with you and find it with somebody else, or they just stop it, period.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Okay, there you are again. thinking of what Annie's dear. Well, of course, as you know, my daughter has just come back into my life, and well, no, not back into my life, back into my house. And before she moved back, she had made the comment to me, "I'm really nervous about us living together because we always used to fight." And I said, "Well, that was when I was struggling with parenting you. You don't need parenting anymore. I'm proud of how the person you are and how you've turned out. It's not going to be an issue." Well, some old patterns jumped up. At first, I was just noticing them, and then eventually my triggers started getting hit. So we had a couple of blow-ups. But what really worked was us sitting down and saying, we want to change the dynamic. And I usually think that if I shift something, everything will shift, but not when she was doubling down. So we have both expressed a commitment to want to change the previous dynamic, and we got through this one blow up. At the end of it, we were laughing. So it is starting to change, but it's very much what you were talking about, doing a dance. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to dance if you keep stepping on my toes.
I like that last term.
And I definitely love the fact that, you thought that your child didn't need to be parented anymore. That's awesome. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I'll be 59 this month, and I am with my mother longer than 3 days, I'm 12. Okay, so, I have all the same, and I've done work on this, and it still will come up. And it's lovely these days because now I can say it. And I can see my mother recently, pulled a genie. And we call it genetics because that's our name, right? And I'm named after her. And yeah, she, like 5 hours that she's in the emergency room, that's when she texts us and says, I'm in the emergency room because I had a fall 10 days ago and they think I might have a brain bleed and I'm like, what in the name of all that is holy is going on with your mother? To my sister, right? I'm texting my sister separately, and my partner had been out and she comes in and I go, your mother-in-law. And so I go to Sister Me. She goes, now you know what it's like to be on the other side of that. And I'm like, how dare you point out what I do? Yeah. Because I do. I am so that person. And so I think there was this compassion for my mother because I understood her not wanting to cause worry, right? We never want to put our children in a position where they're afraid, right? And I don't care how old your kids are. They can be 12, 22, 52, 62, right? It doesn't matter. You don't want to put your kid in that position. And I know my mother does that. And then 5 hours into an ER where she got no results, she was like, uh-oh, something may really be wrong. I better let the girls know. And my sister's freaking out and I'm on the other side going, okay, well, right, let me know let me know what they say. And I put up, it's not that I'm calm, trust me. I put up the, okay, like the business thing. All right, tell me what's going on. Like I have this person that I become when something really scares me, and it's all business and stuff. And then once she got the clear, heart was good, brain was good, there was no, just arthritis. And I'm like, okay, and once she got that, then where my sister calmed down, then I started having anxiety. Then I was like, oh, okay, I can breathe now. So it's one of those things, I think, that, again, where we make choices on how we are going to experience our life. And when it comes to other people, that's, one of my focuses is on being a sovereign person. That sovereignty means that I can love me and love you without giving up my love for me, right? And that, I think, can be hard in a parental-child relationship sometimes, or partnerships, or some friend. I have some codependent friendships, I'll be honest, and because you have that situation where you love someone so much and you just can't think of your life without them. And so when they let you know that there's something going on that could destroy the norm, right? Like they could leave this planet and transition somewhere else, that can bring up a lot of fear, right? And then that, for me, creates where my sovereignty might not have the boundaries that it needs to have to protect me and them. Because like what I saw was, well, Mom, you need to do blah, 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 blah. Right? My mother is a grown-ass woman, right, who has been taking care of herself and others for quite some time, right? No, that's not my job. My job is to support. My job is to love. My job is not to say you need to, right? Because that's me trying to control something that I just cannot control.
I like your use of sovereignty, and I like the way you described of loving someone so much you think you just can't live without them. That's not really sovereignty.
No.
Yeah. I've shared this before, and this is the most powerful awareness for me in my life is recognizing that nothing someone else says or does has anything to do with me, and nothing I say, feel, or do has anything to do with them. So when I'm with someone and it feels like they're pushing my button, I experienced this yesterday with my daughter. It felt like she was pushing my buttons. And at first I'm like, why is she trying to? And I went, no, it's not her. What's going on with you, Deb, that you're feeling this? Because it has nothing to do with her. What's going on with you? It was her birthday yesterday, and she's 48 years old. And there was a certain amount of sadness for that. And I didn't want to face the fact that I felt sad over the fact that my daughter, my baby, is 48 years old. Now, I quit mothering her years ago, and I was relieved to stop doing that. With both of my kids, when they turned 18, I said, you know what? You're an adult. You're writing the book. I've done everything I can do. And I did stop mothering them. And it felt relief to me. And now all these years are going by, and I'm seeing them adulting. And I'm going, what happened to my baby? And so I recognized, and the rest of the day was fine then. But I recognized that that's what it was about. I wasn't allowing myself to recognize that I was feeling sad. And it was a little hurtful. I was hurting myself because I was feeling sad. Now, it was important that I felt that. I don't want to say that it was not good. It was important that I felt that. I didn't feel the need to talk about it with her. I felt it was part of that personalization of divine truth that we talked about last week. That was very personal for me.
Right, because it was about you.
Absolutely.
It was about you and your baby, not
Yes.
necessarily her as an individual.
Yes.
It was about how you were experiencing that. And I think that was like exactly how I felt the other night with my mom. It wasn't necessarily about my mom. It was about how I felt as a child of this person, and that's where we have to look at, that boundary of our humanness and our feelings and our sovereignty. And like, I love that you pointed that out. It's like, I was having a feeling of sadness that my baby was becoming 48. That's has nothing to do with her as an individual.
No.
It was your experience as a mother.
Yeah.
And when we realize our experiences as whatever it is, whether it's a worker or a child or a parent or a sibling or a friend, whatever that change is, that is about us.
Exactly.
And not the
Exactly.
dynamic of the relationship.
Yeah.
And I mean, because the dynamic of a relationship is a whole different thing, and maybe we'll talk about that next month. I don't know. But I think that, that's, again, where we live what we believe. And like you said, about how that shows up in our lives in what we believe. And, so many things have been changing for me in 2026. I started out this year with an idea of it being a restful year. That was my idea. I know. You have a plan, God laughs, plan change. But that's what I had decided when 2026 came around. Yeah, that's going to be my restful year. There was, not that I don't rest, because I do. I really made conscious choices of resting because there was so much to frickin' do. I had to consciously choose when I rested and gave myself time to integrate what I was learning about me. And that was one of the things. So I got up early because nowadays I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. So sleeping in is 6 a.m. So I got up early and, I was like, oh, let me take a look at what today's topic is for Anne. And I was like, let me find out. So I wrote down what I believe. And I believe people are inherently worthy before they achieve, produce, heal, or perform. Life is unfolding through us, not happening to us. That's a belief I have. I believe consciousness matters and that the way I see can change my experience. The way I see things can change my experience. I believe healing is possible because I believe I'm already whole. I believe joy is a spiritual practice, not a reward for getting somewhere. I believe wisdom and humor belong in the same room. I believe that people deserve sanctuary, and this is part of my holy shift, right? I believe people deserve sanctuary, a place they can breathe, a place they can tell the truth, and not have to earn belonging. I believe sovereignty matters, that loving others does not require abandoning self. And I believe sacred play is medicine. And I believe enlightenment is to become more available to life, more loving, more honest, and more present and more free. That's what I believe. And that was, that was just based on how I was feeling this morning. So,
Right.
today's beliefs in, and I see that come out in my life, especially recently. For those who don't know, I am going for my doctorate in consciousness, and I'm working on finishing that up. And part of that is a project that's a play. And, with that, I took something that I wrote 16 years ago and kept the basics of what it was, but changed the dynamic to archetypes of women in a circle. And this has been such a process for me personally because it's my story. The play is about my cancer diagnosis and walking through that. And that diagnosis was the first one. Like that wasn't even 2019. That was from 1997. So just who I've become in the process over the last 29 years from that to now, and seeing how people showed up in my life, and now creating that. And Deb's going to be part of that, and Anne's going to be part of that. And so just creating that and seeing where that goes is going to be amazing, I think, to now watch it come to life after I've, healed so many wounds that were present at that time.
So this reminds me of a conversation I was having this week that started off about, once again, the graduation, and it connects to what you're saying because in the graduation, all four speakers talked about the changes in their life that came through because of the disaster, the catastrophe of COVID, and how out of that came this awesome blessing of them being guided to a new path. Same here. Look at this. She's getting a doctorate out of something that started off being a disaster,
Yes.
a trauma.
Yes. It was
More of
definitely
a
a trauma.
trauma. Yeah. So I think it's so important for me personally to be totally aware of the fact that life includes all of it. We say God is everything. You know what? God is everything. If you say that, you must accept that God is everything.
And God is everything.
Everything.
Right. The good,
God
the
is
good,
God
the
is
bad, the ugly.
That's right. The good, the bad, the ugly, the traumas, the disasters, and all of the amazing blessings. Because for every single blessing that shows up, there's going to be another side to it somewhere.
And vice versa.
Absolutely.
Right. With every
Absolutely.
trauma that
every
shows up.
trauma, there's, when 9/11 happened,
Oh my
we
goodness.
heard for years after that all the wonderful things that came out of that because it brought people together.
Mhm.
you know?
And even with COVID, like, that obviously helped with the kids in that. But even the Planet Earth, we watched that as everybody stayed inside.
That's right.
How nature was healing herself.
Yeah.
So there are, and I know that when I'm in the middle of a trauma, if anybody says that to me, I will throat punch them.
Oh, of course
I mean,
not.
like, please, that's not the time to tell people.
Dude.
Don't worry, there's a blessing in there somewhere.
Oh,
Don't.
no.
Don't. That is spiritual malpractice.
Mhm, mhm.
It really is.
Agreed.
But
Agreed.
has that been my experience? Yes. That has been my experience. That every traumatic situation in my life has brought me a blessing and compassion. Compassion
Oh,
for
yeah.
others.
Oh,
know,
absolutely, yes.
Because, my first response is a very narcissistic response about what about me? And then as I heal and as I grow and as I learn, and then God always brings to my awareness someone who's experiencing that, and I am able to share,
Right.
what happened and where it changed for me.
We can have the most powerful belief in spiritual aspects, and we're still human.
Mhm.
We're still going to have human experiences, and it's so important to have all of those experiences and not
Absolutely.
talk myself out of them.
Humanity is an amazing thing to have.
It is. It is.
Right? Like, being human is not a bad thing. And so many times you will hear spiritual beings talk, like speakers and ministers and stuff, talk about, oh, well, you're only human. Yes, I am. Thank you.
Yeah.
I am human, and I'm having this human experience, and I love it. And I'm a big believer that if I want another human experience, I can have that too.
Oh, absolutely.
And that I'm experiencing different parts of my humanity in the multiverse. I believe that too, right?
Mhm.
Like, you guys were talking about that last week. You guys really had a great conversation last week. I really enjoyed it. I really love Sofa Sundays, even when I'm not on it. So yeah, it was just awesome. And I was so grateful that you were my guest this week as well, so that we could kind of continue that, And if you want to come back the next 2 weeks, feel free. It is such an amazing experience to have life. And there are so many people, I think, that wake up, do a job, go home, eat, go to bed. Wake up, do a job, right?
Rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. And there is so much more even in that thing, right? I do yoga every morning, and I have 4 cats, and 3 of them decide that they must be part of yoga. They must. When I'm doing downward dog, they're doing cat in my face. Yeah. Cat butt in my face. Yes. And I'm stretching, somebody's head is here so I can pet. And,
Very familiar with
it is such, and I love it. I'm like, okay, guys, I got the yoga mat down. No, please stop scratching it. Okay. Because it's just a time that I can experience my, human self and these divine little creatures that I've chosen to care for, and does it annoy me some days? Yes. And then I have to look at it. It's like, why is this annoying? They just want to be with me. They just love me. And that'll change you when you remember, right? They just want to love you. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of life. And I'm not scared to die.
You too.
Yeah, I'm good with it. Like, if today was my last day on earth, I feel good. I mean, that I don't want it to be, because there's a lot more that I wish to experience.
Mhm.
But I feel complete in the fact that I do my best every day. And I believe I give the love that I have every day to others. So, and I didn't always feel that way. I didn't always feel complete in my life as a human in relationship.
That's really interesting that you bring that up. Um, None of you know me when I was much younger, in my 20s, 30s. I didn't really connect with anyone here until I was in my 50s, 60s. From birth to about 38, I didn't want to be here. Every day I woke up, I'm like, my God, I'm still here. I was never at the point, I don't want you to misunderstand. It was not a thought of, I want to end this, I'm going to take my life. That was never the thought. But it was always this thing of, why am I here? I don't want to be here. I remember not being here. Why am I coming here again? I've been here before. Why am I coming here again? And then I had a experience that knocked me down for a while. It was a physical experience. And while I was in that state of healing and being somewhat semi-conscious, I don't know what to call it, a visitation, a wiseness, a wise being that came into my consciousness. The message was, you don't have to do this. But you made this choice. You made this choice. We didn't make you come here. You weren't forced to come here. You made this choice. You keep asking why. Find out why. It's your question. You have the answers. If you're going to be here, but if you are going to be here, live your life and find ways to appreciate it and find enjoyment in being here, because that's part of the reason you choose to come here. So why? You answer it.
Yes.
And it took me a while. I'm telling you, it didn't happen immediately. It still took me 15, 20 years before I started getting to the point where I went, oh, wow, this is really an amazing experience.
But I think that's why you are who you are today, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Because it didn't
Absolutely.
happen overnight. Because there were experiences that said, why?
Yeah.
And I know every time I get a little complacent with my humanness, I experience something that says, oh, but my dear,
Yes.
there is so much more than that. And then I go, oh, okay. But I do. I can get wrapped up in everything. I was just, just celebrating a few days ago, 7 years since my heart attack, and that changed the trajectory of my life. I had a heart attack. They found cancer again. I mean, this was all in 2019, and I was mad. I was mad at the universe, God, spirituality. I had been doing everything right. Everything Science of Mind told me to do, I had been doing. How dare you? How dare you give me a heart attack? Give me cancer? I mean, I was mad. And then 2020 happened, and people started dying. And I got glad. You know why I got glad? Because I was no longer the only person dying. My doctor thought that was crazy. She's like, I can't believe that's what cheered you up. I thought it did. Everybody's dying. I'm not special. And it really was. It was the thing that shook me out of it. I was so mad that I had done all this stuff, and I had already had cancer, so how dare you give it to me again, right? I was like, and I had breast cancer again. in my lung. It wasn't even lung cancer as a 30-year smoker, right? It wasn't even lung cancer. It was breast cancer in my lung, which was totally, I mean, I had all these reasons to be pissed off about it, you know? And then COVID happened, and so many people I knew were ill and sick, and we couldn't go anywhere, and we couldn't do anything, and my church was closing, and I, no longer had anything. That's what it felt like. It felt like I had no more connection, and the only thing that I had was online. Everything was online, and I don't know. It changed everything for me, my perspective, but not quick enough, because then in April, so like the world shut down in March, I think, right? And so a month later, so I started to stop being mad every day. I think it was every other day then. And then in April, I was doing some stupid online thing of howling at the moon. I don't know, right? Where everybody did it at 8 o'clock. So I go outside in a backyard I had been in for the last 8 years, and stepped off a little ledge, fell, and broke my ass. And it took 2 years for that to heal. So I had a compression fracture in my tailbone for 2 years that was so painful. And when I fell, it threw my spine forward, and it was pinching my sciatic nerve. So I had sciatica down both legs, and I was just like, oh, sure, why not? And that's really when I understood, sit down, shut up, and pay attention to who you are, who you really are. And there's my teacher, Dr. James, his New Thought Now church, their motto is love only, forgive everything, and remember who you are. And those three things, I mean, were what stuck with me at that time and continuously. Love only. There's no reason for anything else to be happening inside of me. Forgive everything, regardless of who I'm blaming it on or what I'm blaming it on. And remember who you are. Remember who I am. I am a divine light. I am the ocean in a drop. I am the I am. And so are you, and so are you, and so are you, and so are you. So with that, what do I have to be mad about? And it changed my world. That's why I sit here today.
I want to ask, does anybody in the audience here have an experience similar to what we're talking about, where there was an awakening that you would like to share? It was probably an awakening that I've done nothing with, but, and I can't explain it. I can't even describe it. When COVID hit, it was really hard for me because I lived by myself. I had nobody, and I'm not very outgoing or friendly with people anyway. So it was like same old, but then I couldn't even leave the house to do whatever I needed to do. But so coming out of COVID, it was a little bit difficult. But and my sister lives in Australia, and she comes here every year. And we had decided at that point I was going to go there. We were going to alternate after my mother died. It was better to just alternate than for her to spend all her time here and me go there. And she was going to come here during 2020, and we had to cancel that. And I had thought about going there for Christmas, and we had to cancel that. So she came in 2021 and whatever year it was. And then the following year, I went there, and it was, and I think I've told you this a little bit, but I didn't expect it to be such a thing. I can't even describe it. It was probably the best, most relaxing, most wonderful vacation I've ever had. And we didn't do a whole lot. I mean, I stayed with her, and she lives in a small town. It's very expensive to do things over there. We did some things. We went on a few little excursions. But she thought I didn't have a great time because her husband and I sometimes don't see eye to eye. And she said, you're probably never going to come back. I said, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. It was the best vacation I ever had. And so
when I came back there, I said, what was different from this one? Because I'm not saying I've been all over the world, but I've been on vacation where we had a lot of fun, a great time. But this was just so relaxing and so, it's like I didn't think about life. I didn't think about all the work that was waiting for me. I was like 10,000 miles away from everything I knew. I could just let it go. I didn't have a worry in the world. And then I came back and I got immersed back in the world again, and it was very tough. And so I think I've been seeking that again. And then I went back 2 years later, and it was not quite as relaxed. I mean, it wasn't quite the spiritual experience that I had before, but it was still excellent. And so I'm not really sure what it was, whether it was because I was out of my realm and I just let things go. And I'm trying to get back to that again, where I can just say, you know what, screw work. I'm almost 70, it's time. But then money gets in the way, or, you know, health gets in the way, or what have you. So I'm back in the human experience again. So yes, I have had that experience, but no, I have not achieved the ultimate Zen that I would like to achieve. Oh, you'll get there.
Sure. So intuitively, what I'm getting is what you experienced was you deeply connected with your inner being. Our inner being has no conscious awareness of past or future. Our inner being is always in the now. There's no concerns about money. There's no concerns about health, about relationships. I believe that's what you experienced, was just being with that inner person that you are, that is pure, perfect energy. That's all it is. And so maybe that knowledge that is being imparted to you right now, maybe that's something that will help to guide you back to that place again.
Yeah, I would love to be there all the time in terms of that whole experience, where I could be there here as well as anywhere else.
Say that again. Yeah.
I said I would love to be in that experience again, regardless of where I am physically, where I feel like I love life. I literally got up every day and was so, it didn't matter if we cleaned house, it didn't matter if we went somewhere, it was just so peaceful and so amazing, and it was so different from what I was used to. And all I can think about when I want to have a Zen moment is how wonderful it was. And I don't want to keep seeking it. I want it to be, and I don't know how quite to achieve that, but yeah.
Yeah, what I've been finding is you can't seek the inner being,
Right.
because it's just exactly. It's what we can do is we can surrender, and we're not surrendering to our inner being. We're surrendering to the human ego that feeds all this information to us of supposed to and what is necessary, and that's the illusion part of being in this human life, you know. And I'm learning more and more how to experience the illusion but not be in it, of the world but not
In the world,
but not of the world. You know, that's becoming more and more of an awareness for me. I still work, but I work because I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of do too, I think. But I also feel obligated, and I have to do this for a living, and so there's all that other crap that goes with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I could just not work.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to have the freedom to come and go as I wish too.
Yeah. Sometimes some people, I've never done this, but some people have shared that what helps is when they have a conversation with their ego. You know, when the ego starts giving messages like, oh, I have to do this, or this is necessary, and this is necessary in order for me to have what I want and live the life that I want. Some people will say, then they go, okay, I hear you, and that's not my truth. And I'm aware of what that has been because of what's been taught to me and what I hear going on around. And my inner being knows. It's my inner being that knows. You know, it's part of it, I believe, in that process is what is termed as remapping your brain.
Yes.
You know, because our brain definitely creates synapses and electrical impulses and connections because of repetitiveness, you know. And so as we begin then to actually make a conscious work of it, of changing those thoughts, then it begins to remap it in the brain, and it becomes then less and less prevalent that the ego has such a strong voice.
Yep. You know, change your thinking, change your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had an experience the other day, and it really made me realize how big my ego is in terms of allowing me to feel important in life. It's not what I am, who I am, it's what I do. But we were talking because she came here this year. I would naturally go there next year, and the question came up, well, when is a good time to come? And I don't want to go there in their winter because it's 115 degrees, and I can get that here. And so they're the opposite of us. So Christmas is 115. And the best time actually is during March because that's a good time of year, and that's also when we get spring break and I have a whole week off and I can have the vacation without having to take vacation. And I was talking to one of my colleagues who used to be the head of the library. She was the chair, and then she decided to step down and they put somebody else in. So she's been up there at the top. And I said, yeah, I'm thinking that I would like to go in March again, but I feel really guilty because I'm in this new position where during the fiscal year I have to spend all this money, and if I go a whole month, how am I going to spend all this money for books? I'm this book purchaser. And she said, I don't think anybody would care. She said, somebody will take care of it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to make myself indispensable, and I'm really not. She said, you're probably the only person that works here that would even be concerned about whether you're here or not to spend money. Everybody else can say, oh, she's going to go and have a good time. I'm going to go and have a good time. And you're like, how am I going to have a good time when I'm worried about whether they're going to get this money spent? So I pretty much decided at that point, as long as they're willing to let me go, I'm going to go.
There you go. Yes, yes. I love that. I love that. This has been so awesome. I'm so
Is it
grateful.
time already?
Yes. It is that time. I know, we could spend maybe a round table conversation for the next 2 hours, but our tech guy has to go. But before we close, anybody have anything else they want to? No? Okay. All right, I will close us up here. Breathe that in, just that knowing, that inner being knowing, that beautiful place that is the divine as us. And in that space, that blessing, that every experience that we have is brought to us so that we may be more of who we are in life. Just that beauty, that joy, that love that is us. And that every experience that we have just expands that consciousness to know love only. To know that forgiveness of everything. And to remember who we are. And that who we are is that joy, is that love, that beauty, that wisdom, that peace, that divine calling, that stardust. And that is each and every one of us. So knowing that this time together is truly blessed, I am so grateful. I'm grateful that this time, this place, this experience with these people, here, now, and whoever finds us later, knowing that this has truly and a blessing. And for that, I am grateful. And I send blessings to leaders and teachers of all faiths everywhere, all countries, all cities, states, places, knowing that they are divinely guided, guarded, and protected. That each person is brought to the divine consciousness that they are. And for this, I am grateful. I say thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, life. Thank you, universe. Thank you, creator. Thank you, source energy. Glory to all. I let it go and I call it good. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you. And please, this week, live what you believe, right? And if you need to change a belief, do that too. That's something we didn't talk about, but if you need to, send me an email. All right. If you'd like to support us, please go to beginwithinministries.com. And you can make a one-time donation, or if you'd like to join as a Spiritual Church Club partner, it is available for you, $45 a month or $75 for a couple. And that allows us to bring our message to the world. And if you become a Spiritual Church Club partner, you can receive your mug, and you will get your booklet. And if you come in person, you get plenty of hugs all the time. And if that is not how you feel to support us, that's fine too. There are other ways. If you're watching us right now, like and subscribe if you haven't already. You can go to our Facebook page. We are 60 people away from 1,000. I really want to hit 1,000. I know, it's crazy, but please help me out. So like and subscribe there. Join on our Facebook page. Show your friends who we are and just participate. Help the Facebook algorithm know something's going on here. So we thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Tune in again next week at 11:11 a.m. Pacific Time, or Monday evening at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. In partnership with New Thought Media Network.